Now, a UT official tells me that is not the case. The Horns departed around 11 o'clock despite, as he called it, the cold. Real cold. Damn cold. The problem tonight wasn't getting out of this. It was getting into it. As we move from the Storm Tracker Weather Center up to the 42nd floor for sports, it's just a quick elevator ride. We want to let you know that Texas got stuck in traffic on the way to the game and needed a police escort. They arrived 45 minutes prior to tip. All of that going against them, and then the cherry on top, actually playing the game and facing a West Virginia team that they call Press Virginia because they force 21 turnovers a night. That's best in the country. "2004, the first year I covered the Spurs on a daily basis. Following one of the very first games that year, we were interviewing Bruce Bowen at his locker. I asked him a question and he started to answer it. Every single media member went on a sprint to the other side of the locker room, my cameraman Marcus included. Looked up to Bruce to apologize, and as I did, he just laughed and told me, 'Don't worry about it, just go, so that you don't miss Tim Duncan.' That was Duncan. If you didn't get to him by the time he got to the 0 on that countdown, he bolted. Duncan didn't love the spotlight. He loved the Spurs franchise, he loved winning, but he didn't love the spotlight. Before the game, our intern Tony asked our photographer Sean to name all 30 NBA teams. Sean thought about it, got to 29, but couldn't come up with that 30th. His brain just didn't get there. But finally he remembered it, Orlando. So why is that important in Hutto tonight? Well, because if the Hippos were going to have any chance of knocking off Cedar Park tonight, they had to have some magic. On the road again. Thursday, June 8th, the Rangers beat the Astros at home before taking a plane up to Seattle. They played in Seattle, and then they went on to Oakland, then to St. Louis, back to Arlington, then up to Boston or New York for a road trip there, over to Minneapolis, back to Boston, and back to home tonight to Arlington. And they did all that with 1 day off. If you drove this, amazingly, it's 11,573 total miles. And amazingly, Texas entered the night with the best record in baseball still. In Martin Perez's last 8 starts, the Rangers are 8-0, trying to end the road trip on a strong oh, never mind. Boston jumps all over Perez early. David Ortiz, the home run here, thanks to 3 errors in the second. They pour 11 runs on in 4 innings. One cool note tonight, Prince Fielder homers in the 6th, his 319th, which ties him for 116th all-time with his dad, Cecil. Rangers lose tonight 11-6. If you wanted a one-way flight from Orlando to Austin tomorrow, it would cost anywhere from $290 to $765. If you wanted a one-way flight from Houston to Austin tomorrow, it would cost up to $505. If Orlando wants a one-way flight from Houston to Austin, it will cost about $1 million per year if you're UT. Houston defensive coordinator Todd Orlando is leaving the Cougars to join Tom Herman's staff in Austin. Orlando has 12 years experience as a defensive coordinator with stints at UConn, FIU, Utah State, Houston, and now Texas. The possible end of the Brock era in Houston comes with some great advantages. We get to discuss the greatest savages of all time, whether you believe it's Macho Man Randy, Fred, Ben, Blake Lively in Savages, even Savage Garden. One thing's for sure, in Houston, they're now left to hope that Tom Savage jumps to the top of the Savage list in a hurry. The UT football team was giving up 38 points per game, nearly 49 if you don't count UTEP, before Charlie Strong took over the defense. Since then, the Longhorns are holding teams to just 28.3 points per game. The losses, all by a touchdown or less, except for one, 7-5-3-4. Texas could be a 9-1 football team. Of course, Texas could be 2-8 too. 3 of their losses were by 8 points or less. So let's turn to Charlie Strong by the numbers that are most important, 16 and 19, because that's Charlie Strong's record in 3 seasons at Texas. At the end of the day, no matter the mess he's had to clean up, no matter the youth that he's had to play, his record will determine his number further than any other number this year. This is Gabriel Pruitt's Twitter page. He's a sports writer for the Port Arthur News. At 4:59 this afternoon, he sent out a fairly harmless but very meaningful tweet. Just got word offensive lineman Patrick Hudson has signed with Texas. Now, this is major news to recruiting gurus around the area because they all reported earlier today that Hudson would wait till Thursday to make his announcement. Pruitt says a constable told him so. Now, this is not a knock on Gabe at all, but it made me think back to 2011. That one report that surfaced on Twitter that UT head coach Mack Brown would resign following the Baylor game. The report came from a Topeka radio station, and Mack's response following the win over Baylor was as perfect can get.
I promise you this. When I do retire, it won't come from a Twitter in Topeka, Kansas. I promise you that. It'll come through you all. I promise that. That's what I'll do. I'm planning on coaching a long time.
It's the best one ever. The Express began play in the year 2000 in Round Rock. We are keeping a running tab of all the team's no-hitters over the last 17 years. And after Michael Roth nearly did it last night, we thought it would be fun to relive all of those no-nos. So let's dive in. Put it in internet terms, 404 not found. No no-hitters in Round Rock history. A pitcher's duel in Round Rock tonight, though. Austin Bivens-Dirks gets the line out right here. He allows no runs in 6 innings. Scoreless bottom 7, Delino DeShields really fast. He steals second, Delino DeShields then steals third. Hanser Alberto would drive him in to make it 1-0 E-Train, though Nate Orf homers to lead off the 8th to tie it. It is 1-1 right now. They are in the 9th inning.
2.5 years later, it's fair to say it isn't enough, and that's positive in that that's the way the things have gone in the last 2.5 years, that really the only thing that's ever acceptable anymore is dismissal.
Okay, going to try to walk a really fine line here. Oklahoma head coach Bob Stoops more or less said today that the world's changed so much in the last 2.5 years, especially with social media, that today he dismissed Joe Mixon from the program for punching a woman. But 2.5 years ago, he could justify keeping him. The video of Mixon punching Amelia Molitor and fracturing her face in 4 places is grotesque. And Stoops' reaction to it then was to suspend him for a year, that was basically a redshirt year, and then reinstate him. Look, I 100% understand Stoops' position that he wants to help kids that make critical mistakes. Truly do. But Stoops, OU AD Joe Castiglione, and President David Boren all saw the video and still elected to keep him on campus back then. Boren expelled 2 students and closed the SAE chapter for using racially insensitive language in a video. You can't have it both ways. Stoops defended his side today.
You can't play lower to nobody's level. You can't come out of there and just play at their level. We're Texas. We got to play at a high level. We know who we are, and when we come out there this Saturday, we're gonna play at that level.
This is not a knock on Chris Nelson, because he's not the first and he won't be the last. And on top of it all, he's from Florida. Didn't grow up loving Vince and Colt, Rack and Earl, Major and Roy, the guys who made "We Are Texas" the cool thing to say. This isn't a knock on Charlie Strong, because he's still trying to do what even Mack Brown couldn't over his final 4 years at Texas: erase the entitlement. This is a knock on the arrogance and the faux confidence of a program that's fallen from grace over the last 7 years, but continues to believe it's still prominent nationally. It's only prominent nationally in its collapse. Texas beat Oklahoma a year ago and then beat Kansas State, allowing 26 total points in the process. The Charlie Strong product was finally showing up on the field. Then they went to Ames.
You saw it coming because before the game we're out there, and I think it may have been like a little dew on the grass or something, and they're just like, oh, it's slippery. Okay, so we're going to worry about the grass, Okay, it's slippery on both sides.
The ensuing 24-0 shutout loss to Iowa State, an Iowa State team that finished 3-9, was a perfect reminder. Texas doesn't play down to its competition anymore. It's just an average football program. It has been for 7 years. As proof, here are some of the Power 5 teams with more wins than Texas since 2010. NC State, Northwestern, Penn State, West Virginia, North Carolina, Mississippi State. Heck, Missouri has 10 more wins than Texas. And remember what DeLoss Dodds once so confidently said, quote, "Our bad years aren't that bad. Take a school like Missouri. Our bad years are better than their good years." No, Texas' bad years really are that bad now. Since 2010, Texas is 43-38. Since 2010, Texas Tech is 43-38. Since 2010, Texas A&M is 58-26. Without Justin Tucker's final kick, the Longhorns wouldn't have much to hold over Texas A&M anymore. Texas does not play down to its competition anymore. Its competition is simply better. Okay, is the head coaching job at Texas one of the best in the country? Of course. Is the history of Texas football one of the best in the country? Of course. But October 11, 2016, is Texas an elite football program? Not even remotely close. We Are Texas, no longer intimidating. It's just words. And this is just another program.